You can't find good employees? Nobody can do this job better than you can? This new generation, they're so entitled and they're so privileged. Does this sound like something you've said or you're even currently saying? You feel like you can't find good employees, you can't find good workers. It's just what happened after the pandemic, right? Well, in this video, I will talk about how you can find people who actually want to work and great employees that would want to show up for you day to day. And more than likely how you're the problem, not your employees. There's honestly just two reasons why you can't find good employees. For first-time business owners, you just don't know what a good employee looks like. And if you do know what a good employee looks like, then you're just being lazy. For the first-time business owners, I would suggest, because you don't have experience on employees and your expectations, just a cold hire. I don't know if cold hire is an actual term or not, but the way that I define it is you find somebody off the street, they can breathe on their own, they can walk on their own. Can they fog a mirror? Put them in the office. So that can help you really quickly determine what you do want and what you don't want. For those of you who do know how to hire good employees, you know how much work and effort that takes. It's honestly a numbers game. Is cold hiring preferred? Yeah, obviously not. But it helps you determine what you need in an employee and what you don't need in an employee. For people who are in industries where you can't cold hire and there's certain background checks that need to happen, licensing, registration, there's already filters and guardrails for you to hire. So that helps with narrowing down the pool of employees that you have in your agency. But people can pass background checks, people can have great resumes, people can come fully registered, but they might not be the person for you. And honestly, the only way that you'll learn is by hiring, seeing what works and seeing what doesn't, and then moving forward. You can't allow for one or two bad apples to ruin your experience as an employer and just generalize all employees as terrible employees. That's not fair to you, that's not fair to the good employees, and it's definitely not fair to the employee that might not be up to your standard. For my bosses out there that have cold hired, please tell me your horror story. I know you have one. I have one. I'll put it down in the comments below about my first experiences with a cold hire and how terrible it was. Another reason that you might have terrible employees or you can't find anybody to work for you is because you probably have no accountability, let alone high accountability. High accountability might feel like it's not a good idea or might feel a little micromanagey, but honestly, having a workplace where you have set expectations, clear objectives, know what right looks like, it only helps create a culture of high performance, high energy, and people who actually want to show up because they know what it looks like to do the right thing. Some examples of high accountability is having very thorough and detailed job descriptions. For example, let's say you're hiring a staff manager. One of the examples can be maintain a schedule, do payroll, hire. Those are very vague descriptions. If you were to give it to, let's say, a toddler, they wouldn't know what to do. Let's say in the job description you have every 2 weeks, payroll must be submitted with accurate times, mileage, expense reimbursements, and training pay on paychecks in WellSky. Now you can give that to anybody and they have an idea of what your expectations are. Another example could be for people who are in the home care industry is when you get a scheduler or staffer is review the care plan and select the appropriate caregiver for the client versus just schedule clients and caregivers. Again, the descriptors is what's going to help your employee succeed. You want your employee to succeed. That will help them because it gives them a blueprint of what the expectations are. One of my favorite examples is from Layla Harmozy. In her content, she talks about telling somebody to go make their bed. So the person goes and makes their bed. You go and check in on it and maybe the bed is not made to the standard that you were expecting. The next time you give that directive, you can say something like, make your bed like a 5-star hotel. That's a visual that pretty much anybody can understand, or at least Google. And now you have a better result because you add that one piece of information in there. To support this first step of having high accountability, the follow-up step I would consider is clear and authentic communication. By clear and authentic communication, I mean emotions are removed and facts are stated. Example, a caregiver shows up 15 minutes late to a shift that was scheduled. You can approach it in 2 different ways. One, you can attack them, ask why they were showing up late. Did they not know the schedule? Did they not pay attention? Or you can approach it in a way that's more fact-finding. Hey, I saw that you clocked in 15 minutes late. That's a fact. that you can ask the client, you can ask the caregiver that they relieved. You can even look in the software that has the clock in, clock out, geofencing, whatever, to see that in fact that person did clock in late. The latter allows for explanation and understanding and growth to happen. The first one more than likely will shut your employee down and terrify them, or it won't allow for growth to be had in that situation. So when situations or circumstances happen with employees that you might be frustrated with or annoyed with, you have to always remember, do you want them to do better or do you want to punish them? So the third step in this whole series, the behavior and the latency of your reaction to said behavior, be it good, bad, or indifferent. So let's say in the same example, the caregiver shows up on time the next time. The sooner you reward that behavior, the sooner you reinforce that behavior. So what I've done is I've had caregivers that maybe had a habit of showing late to shifts. Once I addressed it and asked their opinion on how we can fix it, the next time that they showed up on a schedule on time, the very next one, I'm talking about either the same day or the next day, I screenshot the login and I sent them a little high five emoji with that photo to cheer them on. It continued. I did that a few times over, and then finally about 2 weeks in, I thanked them for showing up on time. I appreciated the effort, and I never had a problem since. Now, ideally, this is what you would want, right? But there's gonna be employees that just don't do right, okay? And that happens, and it's okay. It's not you. Don't take it personal. If you did try all these attempts and it still didn't fix itself, it's time to let the employee go. You have to let it go. The longer you allow this behavior and you just sit there and not do anything about it other than complain to your spouse, your managers, everybody except the employee, the longer you're gonna breed that type of culture, and the other people in your organization are gonna see that you're allowing this behavior. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna spread like wildfire. You're gonna have the same problem over and over, versus you address a problem, they fix it, you reward it, they don't fix it, and you get rid of them. And now you have an expectation across your organization that you don't play. You expect the right thing to happen. You allow grace for learning and understanding. And if that happens, great, you're part of the team. If it doesn't happen, great, you're not part of the team. We could still be friends, you're not gonna be my employee. I can talk about these soft skills forever. I feel like they're my strong suits, but let's move on to more tactical stuff that you can do as a CEO, owner of an agency or a business. So let's talk about numbers. January 2nd, I had 2 mediocre caregivers. Again, didn't know what I was doing. And I knew though, in the beginning of my agency, that I was gonna bring in all my employees at the top 5% of the salary for caregivers. So in California, it's about minimum wage for caregivers. I came in $4 more, so like 20 bucks. This is 2024 that we're talking about it. I came in at 20 bucks an hour plus paid training plus mileage. So I knew right out the gate from my past experiences of having businesses and employees that I was gonna do top 5% of my pay scale for my employees. The next thing that I did was Facebook posts, Nextdoor posts, Indeed posts. I went on any social media platform that I could find that offered hiring. I even went on Facebook Marketplace, and I just went to work. I would schedule interviews on the phone, and then after they passed the phone interviews, I would have them come in person to my office and meet in person. Just for the sake of numbers and understanding just the sheer volume of interviews that I did, last week I sponsored an Indeed ad. I got 70 plus applicants. I went through their resumes. I found maybe 20 out of the 70 that met my criteria. I'll put a schedule of literally last week where I had 20 plus phone interviews. Out of those 20 plus phone interviews, 13 of them made it through to where I wanted to see them in person. Out of the 13 in person, 9 of them showed up. And out of the 9 that showed up, I hired 5. And out of the 5, only 4 made it through background checks, HCA registration, and fingerprints. Volume negates luck. Alex Harmozy says that. I love the Harmozys. But yes, volume negates luck. You just have to do the numbers. It's a numbers game. All in all, like I said, there's a lot of soft skills that you have to be a good leader, to have good people. And then there's also the tactical side where it's just numbers. You just have to do a lot to get where you want to go. And you also have to be the person that people want to work for. You can't expect these stellar employees that show up on time, that do the job to the expectations that you have set, and and you can't even pick up the phone to make sure that their first shift went well, or you don't care to remember their birthdays or their names for that matter. You have to be the type of person that good people want to work for. So be a person of integrity, be the type of person that you would want to work for, that you would want your spouse to work for, that you would want your child to work for. And in turn, I promise you, you will find good employees. You will find people that will show up for you. You will find people that will do a better job than you. You will find people that are invested to your business the way you're invested. Trust me, I know because I have it. My name is Mariam Dawood. I'm a US Army veteran and former Miss Pakistan finalist, and I hope this video helped you out. And if you have anything that you want to talk about or you have any suggestions, please, I would love to hear it. I genuinely want to put good out in the world, and I hope you want to do the same. And if you do, please comment below, stick around, subscribe, and we'll chat later. Thank you for staying till the end. That means I love you and you love me.